I do agree with some things Pearl Davis is saying, and I'm laughing because I think in general her argument is incorrect. I think it's flawed, and I'm going to tell you why. But she is correct about the state of our society. She is correct that the institutions of our society are constructed to subsidize broken families. And it's a basic economic principle that when you subsidize something, you get more of it. So if you're subsidizing broken families, you're going to beget broken families. And it's not just subsidizing in general. It is Democrat politicians who are subsidizing broken families. So I understand what she's saying. She's complaining because women vote for Democrats. Democrats subsidize broken families, therefore you get more broken families. And she's saying, well, women are responsible for this. That's not entirely true. It's not just women. There was a lot of bad things that happened in our culture and in our electoral politics before women voted. But the baseline problem or the fundamental flaw in her argument is that women have been vulnerable to being manipulated. Women have been vulnerable to falling for the false narrative that they will find fulfillment and reach their true potential, be their authentic selves, if you will, in the workplace versus in the home. This is the classic feminist trope, right? This was something that women read in the feminine mystique. This was something that the original, not the original feminists, but the original modern feminists brought into the consciousness of modern women, telling them that if they stayed home, that they were going to be unfulfilled, that if they went to work and they could have a paycheck, that they would be liberated, they would be free. If they were promiscuous, they wouldn't be tied to this oppressive monogamy. This, of course, is feminism, and feminism is incredibly destructive. Women have been vulnerable to the narratives of modern feminism for a lot of different reasons. They've been vulnerable to modern feminism because they lacked religious catechesis, because men did not stand up for the traditional role of both men and women, because in the history of our country, women have been marginalized to a certain extent. I'm no feminist here, but of course they didn't have certain rights that we now enjoy. So women were incredibly vulnerable to this. In addition to that, everyone is vulnerable. This is not just women. Everyone is vulnerable when they're being attacked. And women have been attacked by Marxists for almost 100 years now. And the reason Marxists are attacking women is because they are actively trying to destroy the family. They're trying to create the breakdown of the nuclear family. And they know that the elements of the nuclear family are a man, a woman, marriage, sex, and children. And so one by one, they go through the elements of the nuclear family. They try to destroy men. They try to destroy women. They try to destroy sex. They try to destroy marriage. They try to destroy children. Women have been attacked, and modern feminism, which was informed by Marxist theory, modern feminism has done a really good job. But what is the argument here? That because someone is being attacked by Marxist narratives, because someone is vulnerable for it, because someone has maybe fallen prey to Marxist narratives, that they should not enjoy equality under the law? I dissent, I object to that, and I reject that. In fact, Pearl is falling for a feminist narrative, a really serious feminist narrative, because she's pitting men against women. This is a fundamentally radically feminist narrative that men and women are sitting across from each other, that they're boxing each other, versus men and women sitting side by side. The actual view of men and women, according to the Judeo-Christian worldview that she's espousing, whether or not she talks about religion, is that man and woman become one in marriage, which means that men and women, they're not the same. They complement each other. Men and women are obviously different. Men are men and women are women. We don't need to go over the biological differences here, the psychological differences here, but they complement each other. They complement each other. It's only the feminists that came along and said, hey, women, let me whisper in your ear and tell you that man's trying to oppress you. He's doing bad things to you. He thinks less of you. You better liberate yourself by getting back at him. There's a reason that we call them man-hating feminists, because they've tried to pit women against men. So Pearl is falling for this feminist narrative when she is assuming that men and women are kind of fundamentally at odds or fundamentally in a boxing match. They're not. There's also another element here. She says women don't have skin in the game because they're not in selective service. So this is when I say, or this is an example of when I say that Pearl misunderstands the word society and what it means to contribute to our society. This is where it applies most. So think about the family, for example. Think about a mother and a father. Think about the role that a mother and a father play in raising their children. Can you put a monetary value on a father? Can you put a monetary value on a mother? Well, no, you can't, because the nurturing duties of a mother to her child can't be replaced by the nurturing of even a father who ostensibly loves the child equally to the mother. Likewise, you can't put a monetary value on a father fathering his child, even if that child had a replacement, had other father figures. No monetary value can replace the father fathering his children. And this is, by the way, evident in our society. You can look at daycare. Children perhaps are nurtured and taken care of at daycare, but children who are in daycare versus being with their mother have much worse outcomes behaviorally, academically, socially, in relationships for their entire lives. The same with young boys. Boys who are raised without a father are much more likely to be in prison, much more likely to be part of a gang, much more likely to commit suicide. You cannot put a monetary value on something that does not have a monetary value. And that is the value of a woman being a mother and the value of a father being a man. You can try to make arguments about, when you have a single mother raising a kid and a single father raising a kid, who has the best outcomes? But that's not really what we're trying to do here. What we're trying to do is not work out a practical argument within the secular context of a broken family. We're trying to argue for a intact nuclear family. So what I'm saying here is this is not an algorithm on a whiteboard. This is again, Pearl falling for the feminist idea that men and women are somehow in competition. It's not just an algorithm on a whiteboard, and it's not just about money. It's not just about physical strength. There's a more fundamental spiritual reality at play. And here's the question that I would like to ask Pearl. Okay, so Pearl mentions, again, she mentions society in the context only of the economy. And society is not the economy. The economy actually sustains society. But she mentions inventions that have allowed women to go to work, meaning inventions that make household labor easier or that allow women to do both work and do housework. And she said, and my question for her is, in the context of these inventions or in the context of fighting a war, in the context of men paying more taxes than women, my question would be a little more of an existential question. And that is, what is the point of inventions? What is the point of fighting a war? What is the point of winning a war? What is the point of paying taxes? Well, the ultimate goal of all three of these things is security. It is to secure what? Well, it's to secure your family. It's to secure your home being one and the same with your family. I'm not talking about the physical structure of the house. It's to secure your home. The family unit is the fundamental institution on which our society is built. So our society is not just the free market economy. Our society is not defined by the tangible monetary value of your business or your paycheck. Our society, that's actually something, the free market is valuable only in the sense that it protects your freedom of religion, your freedom of speech, your freedom of assembly, so that you can raise your family according to your value system, according to the tenets of your faith, so that you are not being dictated to by the government about how you raise your children. Hi guys, it's Liz Wheeler. Don't forget to watch my show, The Liz Wheeler Show, every night at 7 p.m. on the First TV. You can download the free First TV app, or you can visit thefirsttv.com/Liz and start watching today.